Good afternoon, meat suits. Welcome back to Read It and Weep, a podcast about movies and friendship. This is season 5, Kevin Bacon's Exquisite Corpse, and we are just 4 ill-behaved apparitions who are playing a very long movie-watching game and letting food pass right through us. I'm your host, Alex Falcone, recording, as I always do, from Koreatown in Los Angeles, from North Koreatown in Los Angeles. I'm joined today by Anthony Lopez Part 2. He's in Southeast Portland, and he told you he was a good dancer. It's Anthony Lopez.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your mama and her bridge-playing friends. Cameos, ladies and gentlemen. Watch the YouTube live feed. There's gonna be so many cameos in the first episode. So you're not gonna believe it. You guys.
Clint Eastwood just did that thing. We had him in for just 1 second to play Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Look, it's C-3PO. Cameo.
Whoa. Wow.
Cameo.
Look at that.
A lot of cameos. Also joining us, he's the co-host of the podcast Old Gamer's Almanac. He's from the woods of Brooklyn. It's his party, and he'll die if he wants to. It's Hunter Donaldson.
I am just Mel Gibson, and I'm so famous and hot right now that I don't have to say anything, and I could just be there for a second.
That aged well.
Yeah, exactly.
One of 3 90s cringes, and you're always going to get a 90s cringe. You can't avoid them entirely.
Absolutely.
That was one of the 3 in this movie. Also joining us from Northern California, he's got his whole miserable life ahead of him. It's Ezra Fox. Oh.
You lost everyone too, Alex?
Yeah, it's just you and me.
Oh, Ezra's bit was so powerful. We lost him.
Wait, weird. What happened?
Ezra, your bit was so powerful and non-committal that Zencaster was like, you know what? We got to cancel this. Boom.
What happened? Oh, okay. That's a good one.
I'm more of an Error 1 guy myself. I think the series kind of lost its luster by
If
4.
I didn't watch Errors 1 through 3, will I understand Error 4?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
All right, we're cleared of errors and we're back. It's before we start the show, though, I want to thank all of our fabulous meat buddies. And today, I would especially like to send a shout out to Margaret, who's been a meat buddy since 2016 and who emailed us this week and said the ongoing discussion of people not seeing the Patreon messages reminded me that I too forgot about Patreon messages.
Oh,
My
God.
email address was broken and it was been quite the digital odyssey to get back in. But now that I have, I've gone through all of my memberships and removed a few, but I kept Read It and Weep, so your admonitions did not check to see if you were still...
Okay.
Your admonitions to not check and see if you're still supporting were not necessary in my case.
I
So
feel like I have to ask, do we have anyone who is intentionally supporting us? Like at this point?
So Margaret now...
Yeah.
Not previously, but now they've re-upped emotionally. They've been donating since 2016 and on purpose since at least this week.
Hell yeah, thank you.
I mean, look, I'm not purposefully supporting half the streaming services that I have. You know, like you don't have to be there emotionally to continue to financially support. That's the important thing.
Is that the tagline? You don't have to be there.
After no refunds. That's our small print. All right. And now, before we talk about the movie, it's everybody's favorite segment. Segment 1, the news. Few little quick things I want to talk about. First of all, this is old news by now, but we do have to quickly address Mario Voice.
Oh, right.
This came up right after our show last week. And I have not super been following this, but Hunter was like really excited about this trailer. And so when the trailer dropped, I watched it.
It looks pretty good.
It actually looks like an okay. I mean, it looks very Illumination, which does not mean that it's going to be great. But I thought it looked all right as a movie.
Well, I like to think that it's going to be Illumination, but Miyamoto is going to be there with like a ruler, and he's going to slap anytime someone tries to do like an annoying needle drop or a throat joke.
Yeah,
She's a very stern Japanese man who's like, I invented fun. I'm going to tell you what to do.
I mean, if anyone can comfortably say that they have provided fun to the most number of people in a lifetime, it's got to be the Nintendo people.
Yeah. I mean, Miyamoto in particular seems to be like, he was a big part of the presentation. He's talked about how much he's like overseeing all of this. And the guy's got a pretty good track record with things that are fun and enjoyable. So
Very impressive. The movie looks fine. Jack Black especially seems fun. But the best part was the voice that we were all looking forward to that no one had heard before. That Chris Pratt promised, You've never heard anything like this
Never
before.
heard anything like this, he said.
And then it sounded like he was 80% trying to do his normal voice. Like it wasn't even, it was like low effort, normal voice. Like it wasn't, there's not even a hint that's like, okay, I can see why he thinks he's doing something. There was nothing differentiating it from every other time that man has spoken.
This is like Blue Steel versus like the other looks, right? For Zoolander, where it's like they're all, you know, it's all the same thing.
Just he was making it. Maybe that's what he meant. He was like, I was wearing a totally different outfit while I did the voice acting for this episode. I've never worn that recording for a movie before.
You got to hear Charlie Day's Luigi to really understand what they're going for. Because I imagine as brothers,
symbiosis,
they're going to be working on a voice together. I imagine they'll complement each other.
That's true.
Reflect, their upbringing. Because you have to remember, the thing about Mario's accent is like, technically he was born on Earth, but had they had a misadventure when he was a baby, some storks accidentally dropped him off on Mushroom Kingdom, a nice Yoshi got him back to his parents. So he spent a little bit of formative time in the Mushroom Kingdom when he was very young,
right?
And then went back to New Donk City, where we all know he's from.
Right. Which is where he learned to plumb, and he got his
where he learned
Italian
to plumb. Yes.
Well, he also, that's also where he got his medical degree, his love for race go coding. He became a soccer player, tennis player for a little
of course,
bit.
Tennis is one of his best things. He's like, you can't stop that serve if he does it right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, Mario is a real, iconoclast. He's a real
Renaissance man.
He's a Renaissance man. He is
he
can do anything. Yeah, he loves a party.
I would say the one thing I've not actually seen him do is plumb. Like, do we ever see him in act?
Body into
he goes down pipes.
He dives into a pipe. Does he clear it out? Does he fix it?
Yeah.
Does he adjust a U joint or a ball cap? Does he add sealant to anything
like that? No.
I don't know about your plumbers, but mine stick their whole bodies in all the tubes. And they come out miles away.
Oh, the problem in my toilet was the dinosaurs, so he got them out.
Yeah.
He cleared them out. Oh, there were all those. The problem was the turtles and the lava. Fortunately, he took care of all that.
And the thing about Chris Pratt, I think everyone's having fun making fun of him, and I think he probably deserves it. But
100%.
I also have sympathy for him, because it's like, do you know how people talk about like, oh, I gotta play, Macbeth after this great actor already did it, or like the way the modern Jokers are always so stressed out because they have to follow the last great Joker. Chris Pratt
so
has
many good
to follow
performances of the Jokester. You can't even. What do you even add to it anymore?
Has to follow the three iconic Mario performances. You have Charles Martinet, who's been doing the voice of Mario for 20 years. You have
and was available, I think, and had the calendar free. Could have done it.
Absolutely, very available.
I'm sure he's going to show up in the movie at some point.
He'll get a cameo.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
sure. Just a little cameo instead of letting him do the voice that he's good at, that we all know and would recognize for the thing that we love.
Well, his voice is like, fairly offensive Italian gibberish and baby speak. It's not really
2 hours of that.
Yeah,
I do.
Look,
I absolutely would. Okay, here's my take on this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mario and Luigi already have voices that we know.
Mm-hmm.
Just put them in the movie, and then it's an hour and a half of them doing the thing they already do. All the other characters can provide the rest of the story and stuff. I just want to watch them jump around and say "Wahoo!"
Yeah, I don't want. You know what I don't need from Mario is a goddamn monologue. I want him to say, "Here we go," and that's it, and then just have him go. He's a strong, silent type.
I think Anthony was building to just 2 other beats, though. I want to know who are the other 2 iconic Marios, though, Anthony.
Well,
So what are the other 2 iconic Marios?
Who played Mario on the TV show in the 80s and 90s.
And then number 3
and then you have Bob Hoskins, right? So you have and the thing is, it's like the Jokester, where it is fun to see different people doing interpretations of the same character. I think the like Nicholson, the Heath to Joaquin, it will be similar from like Charles Martinet to Bob Hoskins to Chris Pratt. It's just fun to see different actors inhabit this character we all know and love so much.
Can I just say, okay, so look, there's not a lot of communities. I obviously can't speak for the whole community here, but as an Italian American person, I feel like we could have handled it. I don't know. I appreciate that we're trying to be sensitive about accents. My understanding was Italians would be okay with it because there's so many Italian accents that are like most of the time the only thing Italian you see is mobsters, and that is way worse. This is a hero. This is he should be the leader of we should have his day instead of Columbus Day. We should swap a bad Italian for a good Italian. Day. It should have been Mario Day last week. Like, I think we can handle if we just have like a fun-loving plumber who defeats dinosaurs and goes wahoo. I think we'll be okay. I can't speak for everybody, but if I get a vote, I'm voting. We're fine. Let him do it.
Just to clarify real quick, Alex, do you think that he defeats Yoshi when he rides on him? Because that's the only dinosaur. The other ones, those are like turtle things.
Well, right. I guess I'm thinking Bowser's like a turtle dinosaur. He's like a spiky. You're right.
He's the king of the Koopas. Put some goddamn respect on his name.
Right, he's a Koopa, for sure. He's a Koopa. I guess dinosaurs right. He defeats Koopas. There is a T-Rex that he takes over in the new Switch game, which is pretty rad.
He body snatched that.
I mean, he defeats that dinosaur so thoroughly. He makes the dinosaur do embarrassing physical poses from inside his body. I mean, you can't defeat anybody more thoroughly than that.
Yeah. I mean, and what you have to remember, Super Mario World does take place in Dinosaur Island. So, there is definitely, dinosaurs in the Mushroom Kingdom.
And he doesn't have to defeat Yoshi because they're good friends.
Just friends, though.
The type of friend that, you might throw into a ditch to get a few extra feet of,
If we're jumping together and I need 6 inches more, I'll jump off him.
Also, Yoshi runs away hurriedly anytime Mario gets off for a second.
Yeah, that's also true. It does sort of feel like maybe you're holding Yoshi hostage.
Also, Yoshi's not one guy. That's just what the name of the whole species is.
Blue Man Group.
Multiple.
I mean, wait, really? Yoshis. I didn't realize the other ones are.
They're all Yoshis.
I thought there was Yoshi and then blue Yoshi, pink Yoshi. I thought it was Yoshi was the Yoshi.
That's just what they're all called. It's an army of Yoshis that Mario utilizes. So he just called
he's got a horse and he named it Horse, and it's his friend, the horse.
Yeah, well, they're all his friend, supposedly.
I mean, he does punch them in the back of the head to get their tongue to come out, which is a little rude, I think.
But also,
you got to remember,
what kind
Mario
of dinosaur eats apples?
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers 3 was a stage play, right, within the canon of the games itself. So Mario already has a long history of being a actor, he's acting within the universe. So I'm excited. I think this movie, I don't think Illumination has the best track record.
They make hits, they're just not enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the first Despicable Me. I haven't seen much beyond that. But yeah, I do think with Nintendo's oversight, and if this is a big hit, Nintendo's also recently started their own animation production studio. So if this is a big hit, they will probably move all the animation stuff in-house after this.
Right. I can definitely see there being a series of these. I can also see it's going to be a Tetris musical or some shit. I'm sure there's going to be.
I mean, Nintendo doesn't own Tetris, but I mean,
no, they don't.
No,
do we all own Tetris?
No.
It's owned by the guy. The guy owns it. Petrikov or whatever. Alexei.
Yeah, well, I think he. It's my understanding is that I think the Russian state owned Tetris for a while.
For a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
he wasn't allowed to make any money off of it.
So they will make a Zelda movie, right? Or at least an ocarina jazz band or something.
A Zelda show might be cool. A Metroid movie would be pretty sweet. Pikmin, it would be a really good basis for a thing. Star Fox, it's got a cool universe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good animation stuff Nintendo could be doing.
I want to die.
I would also probably watch a Wave Race movie for my 64 heads out there.
F-Zero.
Yeah.
I hate this. I hope it fails. Nobody go see it. I feel like Nintendo is in such a weird phase right now of just spending money on frivolous, silly things. And I just feel like every Nintendo success era is followed by many poor business decisions, and this Mario movie is the flag that they are flying of our bad business decisions. So,
well, I mean, I think the thing that sucks about Nintendo, kind of their current thing, is that I understand what they're doing because in a world of more and more consolidation, they have to make sure they stay independent. So they need more success and income from these things to stick around. And people don't know how old of a company Nintendo is. Nintendo is well over 100 years
Super
old. They
They used to
have
make
done a bunch
cards.
of different stuff. Yeah, they started as a playing card company. And they have.
You think anyone's at the company still that's like, we need to get back to our roots? Why aren't we selling more playing cards? Do you
They
think
still
anybody's
do
trying to
make
get
playing cards. That's still a profitable division for them.
Oh,
It's
good for them. Okay,
what
so
is the
somebody's
name?
in charge and they're like, look, this is not the glamorous division.
Yeah.
But this is where the real magic happens. I'm the
Yeah.
reason Nintendo exists.
This is the center pillar that keeps the whole company going.
I love that. Okay, so we're gonna move on from this, but it sounds like, Hunter, what you're saying is you are when Anthony flies to Los Angeles to come with me to the Mario Universal
premiere.
Studios experience as soon as it opens, you're not going to join us?
Oh, I'm obviously going to be there, of course.
Okay, good.
And I want it to succeed in a like rooting for the home team kind of want, but I fear that we're just in a period of strange decisions for Nintendo.
If these were actually good, I
They'll
would
blow
say
up all of their success, and then in 5 years they'll come up with a really good idea. This is how they've done it since I was born. Is they
if
make
Mario,
stuff and then
the
they
Mario
make
movie is
stuff.
good, I would enjoy this the way kids who read comic books like Marvel. I think I would feel I have a deep love for these things from my childhood, and I've been mostly checked out from it for a while. Although I did recently finally get to play Mario Hat on the Switch, and it was a gosh darn delight every moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Until you beat it, and then they're like, hey, now there's a harder level that's impossible and is wildly disproportionate to the rest of what you've been doing, and now you can spend 6 hours running, but you can just not do it.
Everyone decides when you're done with a Mario game.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that level of...
I like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would enjoy this tremendously if it worked. Okay, we do have to move on. Also, one last pitch I want to say, if you're not watching us on YouTube at youtube.com/AlexFalcone, Anthony is purple and Ezra is eating the fattest sandwich I've ever seen. This is a wild visual recording today. You're missing out if you're only hearing us. You can check us out on YouTube every week. All right, we're going to talk about a movie. We'll be right back. It's time for segment 2, The Game. This week, well, at first, as you know, we're playing a year-long movie-watching game, now in its 10th month. It's a standard tabletop game format where you're trying to get someone to watch a movie that you told them you're trying to get them to watch, and you just only get to move through one Kevin Bacon each time, and you guys get it. So this week, it was Anthony's choice, and we were watching Casper, the 1995 American supernatural comedy drama film directed by Brad Silberling in his feature film directorial debut based on the Harvey Comics cartoon character Casper the Friendly Mattress. Ghost. Casper the Friendly Ghost. It was written by Sherry Stoner and Deanna Oliver, but it had apparently an uncredited rewrite by J.J. Abrams.
Whoa.
Which I think you really feel the J.J. Abrams on this.
Oh, yeah.
Very there.
Starring Christina Ricci, Bill Pullman, Eric Idle, Brad Garrett, Cathy Moriarty, very importantly for our purposes, who's also in But I'm a Cheerleader, and featuring cameos from Dan Aykroyd, Clint Eastwood, Rodney Dangerfield, Mel Gibson, and the Crypt Keeper.
Oh yeah.
Also, one very small part, but a memorable part to kids, especially the girls my age when this movie came out, was Devon Sawa.
Oh yeah.
A lot of girls we knew stanned Devon Sawa, which is especially funny because Devon Sawa was Stan.
Yeah.
He was the Stan in the Eminem music video.
He was the original Stan, yeah.
The perfect Stan. You can stand Stan if you wanted.
Yeah, this was a very weird experience watching this with my wife because like Devon Sawa and Christina Ricci were both very formative in terms of like us being children and having crushes. So it's a little something for both of us.
We are the same age as the actors in this movie, so it was perfect for us at the time. But then we've gotten older and they've stayed the same, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fun thing
I do still love anytime I see Christina Ricci pop up in something like Yellow Jackets last year. I was just like, man, I love this girl. She's so great.
She's fun.
She's so funny.
The reason that Devon Sawa got cast was because when they did screen tests for like who was the Casper, Christina Ricci was like got like all like kind of like flushed and like giggly basically, and like and the director was like, that's the one.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's got to be insulting for the boy who plays the voice of Casper to not get the
Look, there's
body
plenty of
role
people
of
in Hollywood,
Casper.
and who are like, look, I'm just the voice. There's a body for them. You get used to it, probably.
Yeah, it's a little rude though. I think.
I'm sure it's definitely a little bit rude, but maybe he was an Uggo. I didn't see him. Who is he?
Malachi.
I don't know.
Pearson?
Somebody didn't really do much.
I think this is all he did, really. I mean, I don't know if it's the only thing he did, but I think this is pretty much it. I think
he
he's
got
a
to voice a lot
actor.
more Casper stuff. So like he got
The universe extended on. He had unfinished business after this, so he got to keep doing that. So this was Anthony's pick. Anthony, why did you watch Casper this week?
Well, we're going into October.
It is.
We're
going into it.
We're in October, so
we're
something
deep in.
spooky and fun. Here's the thing. I have been every round we pick random, and I have never won so many first things in my entire life. And I thought it would be impossible for me to have been picked again. So I didn't even think about what I was picking. So I was found really fast. I wanted to move through Cathy Moriarty, and I thought about doing Raging Bull, but I thought that'd be a little bit of a bummer. A good movie, but not very spooky unless you consider like Toxic Male Trait spooky, which they really are. But I wanted to go with something a little bit more fun, and I thought this would be cool to do, and I'd been interested in reviewing this just because I remember liking this movie a lot when I was younger. I was just the right age for this, and it's kind of cool. We've been talking about recently watching things and sort of like effects that didn't hold up very well, and I remember this one looking really good, and it was kind of amazing watching this
CGI main character in film history.
How well this movie holds up visually from a 1995 film.
I mean, this is what I want from CG is for them to do things they're good at instead of things they're bad at. It's like the Terminator water effect is like that's a thing we can do with computers every time. A beautiful owl, we're not that good at that. That's hard. It looks bad. Like these will hold up because he looks like the cartoon character he's supposed to look like.
Stuff that even was like must have been a pain in the ass to figure out on set, like Casper interacting with objects and the ghost interacting with objects. It was
so this had a very
things that like hold up.
It's really a lot like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which also holds up brilliantly well.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of effects where somebody's interacting with a cartoon, and the cartoons in this had a very Looney Tunes vibe to them. They did Looney Tunes gags. They had sort of Looney Tunes writing. So it reminded me a lot of that. A less important Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
They're very stylized, so they hold up that way as well, rather than if they were going for like a more like sort of realistic or a more grounded look for the characters. They probably wouldn't hold up as well. But sitting down to watch this last night, it's fun and breezy. It made me really wish I got to the point of being like a Hollywood or like a film industry legend that I can just do silly kids movies because they seem like they're fun to shoot. You get to sit in like a funny chair and have them spray like shaving cream on your face. It seems like a fun time.
Oh, that's a great
gag. A fun way to make money. It's just to be in a silly movie like this when no one's really taking it seriously. No one's yelling at you.
I feel
we're just gonna have fun.
I feel like Eric Idle and Cathy Moriarty had a good time together.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I feel like probably the voice cast had a good time with Brad Garrett in there. Probably had a fun time being those voices. Bill Pullman is like already a cartoon character somehow, despite having meat on his bones. He had a good time. What a fun movie this would have been to be in.
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you who do not have such a formative experience with the 1995 film Casper, allow me to summarize for you in my patented 6-point micro summary. Although I already spoiled the joke of 6, so it's really just 5 points. Okay, so a bad lady and her lawyer inherit a haunted matte painting of a house that they may or may not be full of treasure. But it's also full of ghosts. So they call in a ghost whisperer and his loner daughter, who move in to meet 3 mean ghosts. Would you call them toxic masculinity ghosts, Anthony? Yeah, 3 crappy ghosts. And then 1 just sweet, horny teenage boy ghost named Casper, who just wants a girlfriend so bad.
Oh my God, he's so horny. He's so horny.
He says, "I want a friend." He wants a girlfriend so bad.
He notably says he wants a friend. Yeah. Later, he sees like a kid, like a different kid than his target girlfriend.
Yeah,
doesn't want to be friends with that kid at all.
Nope, not interested in any friend. He specifically wants to be Christina Ricci's boyfriend. That's all he wants in the entire world. This loner girl that he meets volunteers the haunted house for her school Halloween dance. And then a popular boy briefly she's all that's him or her, but then it doesn't matter. So that just disappears.
Yeah.
But in the meantime,
she doesn't really volunteer as much as
she
like, gets forced by another mean girl.
Takes a vote without even talking to her. They vote that they have a party at her house without seeing if it's chill.
I want to come back to that class because that classroom was very funny to me. They roasted the new girl so hard, and the teacher just was down. He just had a good time while they were roasting her to her face in the middle of class. He was fine with it.
He's just, lost in the clouds thinking about what am I going to wear to this Halloween party? Giant lobster costume? I think so.
I'm gonna wear oven mitts for my. We also have to talk about Halloween costumes. Okay. In the meantime, Loner Girl finds out that Casper's dad was a great steampunk inventor, and he made a roller coaster submarine that brings people back from the dead. But for some reason, he only made a single jar of magic red.
This thing is so wild and so
revitalization fuel.
No, like if we can break it down for a second. Right?
Yes, please.
So this inventor, right, was hanging out with his dead son for a while.
Yes.
He invents the whole working machine.
Yes.
Okay. He, I guess, then gets committed to insane asylum, but still gets the newspapers we see that happening in his workshop.
Right. So somebody delivered the newspaper about this after he'd been removed.
But also delivers the paper. He goes and gets a bunch of papers from Bill Paxton. Yeah.
Right. That's one of his things. He gets a local paper. It's part of an Airbnb. You get a free paper.
I guess he gets committed, and then the dad presumably dies, but he does not become a ghost because he's totally fine with the fact he never brought his son back to life.
I mean, the unfinished business idea in this is real flimsy because later, well, I'll talk about her in the summary, but the bad lady, her specific business is to die and then go in, like get into the safe and then take the machine and then become alive again. But when she dies, she's like, I don't have any unfinished business. Like she had literally a checklist plan. Her business could not have been clearer. So yeah, why was Dad unfinished? He had a machine that he'd spent his whole life making, and a kid
forgot to turn it on.
Forgot to run it. Also, he forgot to write down the recipe for the red revivification.
Yeah, where's like the goo stuff?
He invented goo. He had one canister and just didn't bother to tell anybody what it was made of. So everyone has to fight for it.
He figured out how to bring people back to life, but he wasn't sure if they would come back wearing their clothes or be naked, and he really didn't want to see his boy naked. He thought it'd be too weird, so he never turned it on. But luckily, as we know from Bill Pullman's death, you come out fully dressed.
Fully clothed.
Nice.
Huge relief.
Your clothes imprint on your soul. Everyone knows this.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Unfortunately, not bloody, because also he died kind of gruesomely. Bill Pullman.
Yeah, that's true. People just really start dying towards the end of this movie. The second there's a resurrection spell,
unalive themselves.
Everyone kind of starts dying.
Well, there's an interesting question early on. There was to me where, because I'd forgotten some parts of this movie, but early on the ghosts are like physically hurting them and throwing swords at him, and I was like, can they just kill? Can these ghosts just kill? And then the answer later is 100% unequivocally yes.
No problem with it.
Oh yeah,
ghosts can just
spin a man's head around.
Well,
he seemed like he was fine.
That was also unclear. How did they do that to him? Did he get it back? Did he the chill Italian priest?
I love that guy. That guy's my favorite funny guy in the whole movie.
So that's a recurring character from SNL.
Yes, that's another cameo, right? That's another.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, I knew he was a long-time actor doing a cameo, but I didn't realize.
He's the case.
That's funny.
Yeah, they run through all the ghost characters they can think of, and then they also just got Clint Eastwood and Mel Gibson
we got it. We have to give credit though that the Ghostbuster cameo with Dan Aykroyd, but wearing Ghostbuster gear with all the logos removed, so that they didn't have to pay for rights of anything, I suppose, is so funny. Like to have the actual Dan Aykroyd with the backpack playing a Ghostbuster who says, "Who are you going to call? Someone else." That is extremely good. Dan
Aykroyd said that was canon also.
What is?
Dan Aykroyd said that was canon for Ghostbusters also.
I love that. That's so good. I don't know if he's in charge of that, but I love it.
Well, you know the thing with like Dan Aykroyd is that he like legitimately really believes in ghosts. Like he's a real big paranormal.
Wait. Sorry.
guy.
Hang on 1 second. It's time for our story time with Anthony. Anthony, tell me about Dan Aykroyd's love of ghosts.
Well, I mean, so like Dan Aykroyd's father was like a ghost expert and ghost hunter, and Dan Aykroyd like got that from him, and like it's a thing that like runs through a lot of his work. That's why he has like the Crystal Skull Vodka Company, because he's a big believer in aliens and the paranormal.
Not even just ghosts.
like-
he also has to be involved in the UFO community as well.
Yeah.
Wait. Sorry. But aliens and ghosts, which of those have to do with vodka?
He has a vodka
Skull.
company that comes in a crystal skull.
Right, it's in a skull, which is neither an alien nor a ghost.
No, it's like some alien thing.
No,
Yeah, it's
a
an
alien
crystal skull is an alien thing. Yes, people who believe that
That's why there was that Indiana Jones movie that was also in reference to the crystal skull thing. I don't know.
Realize. I thought it was just a skull made out of crystal.
Yes.
I thought it was just a cool-ass bottle.
Here's the thing. They're not supposed to be made out of crystal, so when we find one made out of crystal, it's a little weird, right?
Well, that's fair. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so like Dan Aykroyd, like, you know, if you look at read a history about like his original Ghostbusters script was apparently wild and like very realistic, and his love for the supernatural that he then through Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman, they shaped into the Ghostbusters that we know it today. But like, yeah, Dan Aykroyd is just like a very good comedy writer, very funny actor, and a dude who hella believes in ghosts.
I love that.
And,
okay, well, that's good information.
Yeah, it's just funny to see him like coming in and doing a little cameo because
a little jokey joke.
You talk to him about ghosts, he'll be there. He was probably on the set being like, ghosts can really do this in real life.
All right, so the loner girl is just about to use the final jar of magic red goo to bring Casper back from the dead. But right before she can goo herself a boyfriend, the bad lady breaks in and steals it and then decides to unalive herself so she can float through the treasure vault wall as a ghost. And then her plan, her business, one might say, is to then realive herself using the goo. But her lawyer is mad, and so he doesn't run the goo machine, and then she gets tricked into saying she has no business, even though everybody in that room knew exactly what business she had and what state of finished it was, and that it was not all the way finished. But they just all forget, and they're like, ha, got you. And so she disappears. But before she does, she proves a ghost can kill you. She just grabs her lawyer, hucks him into the sea. She just unalives her lawyer.
We never heard a thump, splash, or saw the body, so I think he's fine.
And we didn't see a ghost.
Orbiting.
Most importantly,
that is
no
true.
ghost.
We didn't see a ghost for him, but we know. We know. It's Scar at the end of Lion King. Like, we know.
Here's my question.
Scar's fine.
I have a question.
He's not.
Is Casper her younger brother?
The lawyer?
No, the bad lady, the Moriarty.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah,
because
the bad lady?
she gets the house inherited to her from her father.
Oh,
was her father the mad? Because her father wasn't the mad. Was her grandfather the mad scientist?
Her father was not the mad scientist because, so there is some weird age stuff with like the timeline, because all of the Casper stuff suggests like 1890s, turn of the century, maybe 1900. But his favorite baseball player that he has a baseball autographed by was born in 25 and played baseball in the 50s. So like that doesn't, and that could just be like they were wrong about what baseball player they picked. But like it really is unclear what era this is, but it seems way, way back. So she would be great aunt or something.
But yeah, she is. I mean, did someone else come in and buy the house and then just sat on it thinking like, oh, I'll get to that eventually. I'll fix it up and sell it.
This is a good question. Yeah.
Where did the other three ghosts? Why are they haunting it? Are they
we
related
never
to
hear it.
Casper?
So I think he calls them uncles, but we don't know if they are. And they're so mean to him. It's hard to believe they're actually family. And also, we don't know. We never get to the bottom of their unfinished business.
That's a very privileged view of family, Alex. To me, it's a very realistic family dynamic.
Seems exactly on the money.
Well, that's fair, but maybe after you die, you don't have to put up with that shit anymore, I would think.
Well, I mean, if you all have unfinished business, apparently you
in the same house, but they can leave. They went to like Kentucky to watch a horse race. You can just go.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can just go wherever.
They go
I
to
guess.
the borough whenever they want. They
Yeah,
have a
so
good
Casper
time.
could just live in some other house without this guy, because it's not like he's attached to his stuff. He only discovers the attic on accident when Loner Girl shows
So
it to him.
I think the thing that happens, though, I mean, it does not matter. But if you're going to give like the movie credit, ghosts start forgetting their unfinished business, basically. So like they
they
know
have
it,
unfinished business, but they forget everything, so they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But if they say out loud they have none,
then
on.
Yeah.
Well, that's a weird
we had
trick.
to get the movie over, Alex.
Well, it's also weird because you do immediately forget everything from your life. Like her dad does not, when he gets unalived, which I'll tell you in a second, he forgets everything right away. But then if you just like show Casper the attic, he's like 100 years later, he's like, oh, I remember what being alive was. And then he just remembers everything.
Yeah,
so
memory's weird, man.
Memory is weird. Okay, anyway, point number 5. Loner Girl's dad becomes good friends with the ghosts and then gets really drunk and unalives himself on accident while they are trying to unalive him on purpose. And then Casper, in a fit of selflessness, agrees to re-alive his girlfriend's dad instead of himself. And then the ghost whisperer's wife floats down from heaven or up from hell, unclear, and grants Casper what?
She was just all in red. Just saying.
She was dressed in red, which is not a heavenly color. It's not a very angel dress she was wearing.
Right, absolutely.
So she floats up from hell and then offers to give Casper one wish, but in the crappiest form. He gets 1 hour of 20 minutes. It's not even clear. He gets like 20 minutes of being alive.
That is pretty uncool.
Well, maybe she doesn't have that much demon power. And then she has just enough time to go tell her widower to chill about their daughter's swimsuit behavior. And then everyone turns back into a ghost and disappears, and except the ghosts scare all the children away and end the party in a pretty fantastic note. That's all. That's the movie.
Movie.
Then they do the rock version of the classic theme song, which was all the rage in the 90s.
Yeah, they do love all the characters kick off a rock song all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you guys, here's my first question, did any of you ever see any of the original Casper stuff?
I mean, I definitely feel like I've seen it on like old, like when they would air like old cartoons at different points. I never like watched it religiously, but I have definitely seen old Casper cartoons before.
I never saw any of it. And you saw this as a kid and you liked it, Anthony. Did this mean something to you at 13?
So I guess 10. When I saw this, so yeah, I would have
been 7 or 8 when this came out.
Yeah,
so.
I think this was a fun one. I feel like I mean, I'm sure I saw it with like the whole family at the time, and like my dad like really like loved like all the like CG stuff. And I think like was impressed by this stuff for sure. But I don't know. I thought it was sweet and good hearted. I remember liking it generally. Having good thoughts going back into it.
Hunter, what about you? I'm getting a slightly skeptical vibe from you about this film.
No. I liked it a lot when I was a kid, but I was like 5 when I saw this. What I liked about it was that it was the first thing I ever saw Eric Idle in. And then later when I started watching Monty Python stuff, I was like, oh, I already know who that guy is. And then for some reason, based off that, I was like, oh, he must be my favorite. But then I actually don't even think I like any of his sketches or anything.
Yeah, he's funny in this movie.
He does a lot of songs.
I loved
this
as a kid, and I loved it last night as well. I don't know if it held up as well for you guys, but I had just a delightful time almost from beginning to end. Like the opening, one of those early scenes where they're doing the reading the will, and they're reading all of the charities her rich dad donated to.
Yeah, that was funny.
Including the Patagonian Wasp Salvation Fund, the Dyslexic Dalmatians Fund. Like, just
the type of writing you really need a very dry former Nixon speechwriter to come in
I
and
forgot
say
to mention
those
Ben
lines.
Stein as a cameo in here.
Yeah, you really need somebody who's just super dry and dull and wants people to try to win his money. To come in and deliver that monologue so well.
I did enjoy Ben Stein's money because he got real mad if you actually won his money.
Well, yeah, it's his.
It wasn't even his money.
It was his money. It was his money. Yeah. It
That's
was
the
like
whole, that's the whole rule.
Well, so the way it worked was the prize budget was given to him if they didn't win it. So it wasn't like coming out of his bank account, but it was his money. Like when he lost something, he felt like. So there was one episode I remember seeing where he lost and he like destroyed the fake wooden safe that had all the money in it because he was really mad. He just like kicked it really hard and it was wood and so it just shattered. Anyway.
That's funny.
Probably don't agree with Ben Stein on many things, but I do like him in dry movies, and I did like the show where
in particular, Ben
lost
Stein
money.
in the last few years has really gone out of his fucking mind.
It makes sense.
But
yeah, he does a great little cameo in here.
Well, it's the curse of Jimmy Kimmel's co-host. Jimmy Kimmel seems okay, but all of his co-hosts siphon off any crazy, maybe problematic issues from Jimmy themselves.
What if Jimmy Kimmel wants to be crazy? And anytime he feels it bubbling up, he brings in a co-host and then he like passes it.
Yeah, he like whispers his crazy thoughts.
He bags it off and then doesn't have to do it. I like that.
Jimmy Kimmel's just the Green Goblin mask from Spider-Man, just in Adam Carolla's closet yelling at him.
I loved it. I love the design of this movie in that like 90s kids movie way. The design of this house is so ridiculous. This matte painting when they walk up, but then like the swirly floor that they used for a Backstreet Boys music video later, like that, just the inside of the house is just so ridiculous.
Yeah,
I loved the Dan Aykroyd joke. I liked the other cameos. I love Looney Tunes in real life. Like the end of the movie where he turns into a ghost and all the children like scream and go like Fred Flintstone feet, and then they like all leave as a group is like a perfect cartoon joke done by real people.
The only thing I didn't like is when they're first introduced to Bill Pullman's character and the ghosts are fighting him. They refer to him as a doctor when they don't know he's a doctor yet. And then secondly, they call him a California role. And it's also they don't know he's from California because they just met him. So where are the ghosts getting all this information about the guy? It's really fucked up if you think about it.
They shouldn't know that much. I agree with that.
But no, I agreed. I do. It's fun, especially because Brad Sobelin, who's only directed a few other things, but one of them was a series of unfortunate events, the movie.
Right.
So it's kind of fun to see the way this one is very much like I would describe the look of this movie as like if Tim Burton and Chris Columbus had fucked and made a movie baby. Is kind of what the style is of that.
Or perhaps just to alter that a little bit, if they worked together on a film, I think it also might be a similar outcome.
No, I think
you're right.
I think you have to. I know. I
you're
think
right. They should fuck and
make a movie baby.
Yeah.
Look, it's not. But if you're dedicated to your craft, like I mean, why? Like, come on.
But yeah, and then like a series of unfortunate events is like full Tim Burton-y. But this one felt very much like, I don't know, it's kind of like this early Tim Burton, Chris Columbus, and like the first few Harry Potter movies style.
The house is very Tim Burton in a way that I loved. Yeah.
So this was a weird one because I actually watched this, with both my kids. And the weird thing about this is
what death was.
Not this time. But like there's stuff that's like that you kind of like blip through as like an adult who's watching something from the 90s that you don't really in the same way where it's like oh, maybe Casper shouldn't have just kissed her while she was asleep. I was like, guys, don't do that. Like only kiss people who are awake and want to get kissed. Alternatively, like they say the B word twice and kids like
completely unnecessarily out of nowhere. Why would they do that in this movie? I like that felt it was so strange that it felt like they had decided that the movie would make no money if it was G and they had to make it PG. And so they were like, just throw something in post, like have them say ADR, a swear word. We need to be PG.
Just swear in there.
Wait, when do they, I don't remember. When did they?
Twice back to back.
It was
is it Eric Idle talking about the bad lady?
So it was both. So they had one where when she comes back, so it's one where she comes back, she's like, the B word is back. Right.
She reclaims it first.
Right. And there's also a time
like
where like Eric Idle was like, I'm going to get a dog and I'm going to like name
it after you because and it'll be yeah. That was a weird choice. There was also a body shamey joke about Oprah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot, and
Yeah,
all the
there
stuff
was,
with the character. So the character, they named Fatso because they didn't want to spend the extra money to license the actual named character.
Wait, there's a different name for the Casper uncles?
Yeah, so I think they did a lot of reworking of those characters by name because they're like, we have money to license just Casper. And the other ones
Wow.
we're going to change a bit.
Man, I thought I understood licensing. I would have for sure thought those came as a package deal. I didn't realize you could just buy Casper separately and write your own Uncle Ghosts.
I mean, I don't know how different they were. There were three, but yeah, the whatever Ghostly Trio, they I think changed a bit so that they would not have to pay extra licensing fees.
That's insane.
That is really weird.
It could be that a different writer created them, so he has the copyright on those characters, but not on
interesting.
Casper themselves.
That's also possible. I buy that.
Could be things like that.
Yeah, so Fatso, it's funny on the Wikipedia, they're like, Fatso, like, so Stinky is the character that is Stinky, and Fatso is known for being not very smart. And I like that is like a weird choice of a name for him if that's his main thing, whereas Stinky stinks, and that's his thing.
Wow, that's wild.
Well, I mean, he does send you a smellogram and makes you vomit from his breath. It's a classic kids joke.
It's a very kids joke.
Yeah.
So there's some cringes though. I want to hear the end of this though. Sorry. So did Caleb laugh at it?
Yeah, there was definitely some laughs.
Did he want to kiss Christina Ricci?
What's that?
Did he want to kiss Christina Ricci?
No, it didn't seem like it. It was not interesting. Actually, I got actual recording of them doing a quick review. If you want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
okay.
yes,
absolutely.
All right, I'll play the tape. It's maybe what you'd expect. Let's see.
All right, guys.
Something cool. Something cool.
So you just saw Casper. What do you think about it?
I like it. It's a bit emotional. Stop copying me. Stop copying me. Stop. Stop. Well, loud.
Boy, kids do love copying each other.
Yeah.
And they hate being copied.
I
That's
it was emotional. And it was a little silly. I didn't like the swearing. It was a little over. Stop.
There you go.
a little emotional, didn't like the swearing. That's a good
Get
summary.
on the fucking poster. You know what I mean?
Stop copying me, Caleb.
Yeah. I did another one with Caleb also where he basically just said like, I would recommend it. I was like, okay, great. For who? And he was like, well, I was like, would you recommend it for friends? He's like, no.
For enemies?
Yeah,
for enemies, would you recommend it for them?
For enemies, definitely.
He
Yeah.
recognizes this is a movie, but I don't think it's like this is a thing that I have to see ever again. They're going to crave it. But
Did he wonder if any of your chairs in the house, if you pulled a lever, would fall down a flight of stairs and go into a thing?
Because this is, I mean, as you guys probably can assume, my favorite part was the contraptions. I love a secret hiding place. I love a contraption. I love a human car wash.
I love
car
false
wash roller
walls.
coaster.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, it was so fun. Just awesome set for that contraption. And then even just like the set design or the prop design, that goo jar was so cool looking. Like every little piece was just really great. Those big Mike Mulligan steam shovel levers you have to throw to like turn on the Lazarus machine. Just every part of it was just a delightful visual cool set.
Yeah, I like any time a basement just has like a thing of water in it for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, this is some science shit happening.
Why did he have to keep the machine in a hot tub? Why was that helpful?
Why were there so many windows to the outside in your weird subterranean basement? Like, where are those look at? Where do those?
Very good point. There is no visible track on the stairs or going through the trap door. So when she goes down, no problem. Your chair is just on wheels. But then when it goes backwards, I don't understand how it got up that. But man, would have gone on that ride. The toothbrush comes down and goes and then it hits Eric Idle's face. And then the blades, I certainly don't do an automatic shaver that way. That's dangerous.
I like the faith that Casper's dad had in his own inventing ability.
Exactly.
And his commitment to laziness.
Well, we don't know how he died either, you know.
We know that he was institutionalized. But this does seem like he should have been one of the inventors who died from their own inventions.
Right.
A Wikipedia page that is a sad but interesting read.
Oh God.
There's a lot of them.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's a way to
he
go.
seems like he should be on that. My one main question is I don't understand how the ghosts work. So we know they're allowed to kill. They can throw swords. They could definitely just kill. But
Just
like
touch things.
they can touch stuff, except sometimes like when they touch hands, it just goes right through. So they have like some touch, some
and
non-touch.
the food falls through them also, right?
Yeah, food goes straight through them. But then when they got vacuumed up, they were like stuck in the bag for a while.
Which, by the way, okay,
Right.
Hunter, you might get this. I don't know about you guys, but is there any way that this movie is not the reason why Luigi's Mansion exists?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was all
Especially
there.
the
It's all in there.
timeline of
Yeah.
1995. Luigi's Mansion came out a few years later, but
Yep.
there is absolutely a Japanese man went to go see Casper, the scene in the haunted house with the ghost and the vacuum,
and was like, I've been searching for what Luigi is good for years.
Yes, I have been trying to find a game mechanic, and went the next day and was like, guys, I got it. There's no way that this has to have been a massive inspiration into that game.
I've never seen someone else vacuum up a ghost. Okay,
it's true.
I mean, never seen it, and that's
Bill
how
Pullman and
Luigi
Luigi
chooses to handle that
Yeah.
situation. Which, if not for Casper, we'd all be going, "How did you know that was going to work?" You know?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, it checks out."
Now we know.
I also think it's weird that they're like the ghosts are. It's a little unclear that the ghosts are vague looking. Like he looks like a cartoon ghost, but then the new ghosts look exactly like Bill Pullman and Moriarty.
They have hair and clothing.
And
It's real
clothes and
confusing.
color. Yeah, they have all this stuff.
No. Bill Pullman looks like a metaverse avatar.
Yes, they do.
that's
Like
true.
metaverse
himself.
avatar.
It looks like somebody made a Bill Pullman in the metaverse and then imported that. That's
But
what he
Casper
looks
does not
like.
look anything like that
No.
boy.
No, he doesn't
not
have
at all.
hair?
Not even sort of.
Not
Yeah.
even a little bit.
You just kind of reduce down though, basically, to make over time, you become easier to render the longer you're dead.
Yeah.
I think this is kind
The
of what I
longer
learned.
you're dead, the easier to render. If you don't finish your business, you lose your defining features.
Yeah,
Yes.
you just
Polygon
get
count
goopier
goes
and
down.
goopier until you're just kind of like a hairless, just kind of round shape with a face.
Okay, so I mentioned this in the summary, but one of my favorite scenes in this movie is it's a classic new kid at the school where everyone is going to be like, you're a little humiliated, you're embarrassed to have to come up and talk in front of them. But these kids in her 6th grade class, maybe 7th grade, she said middle school, but then it was one class for the whole day, I think it looked like. And it's her one teacher and the class stays together, so maybe they were in a specialty program. Anyway, they just heckle her out loud to her face in front of the teacher, and he is just like,
Just like, that's chill.
In a town called Friendship.
And everyone there is
such a
sharp.
minor detail that what was that even doing in there? Why do we even need to hear that the town is called Friendship? That really got stuck in my craw.
Yeah, I don't think it was super important.
I mean, there's a real place.
I believe it. I'm just saying, like, if it's throwaway, why does it need to be so noticeable? That's my point.
That was cool.
The other shockingly harsh thing was when we were meeting Bill Pullman and his daughter. We met them from a tape or a commercial of Hard Copy.
Yeah,
and the Hard Copy narrator is brutal. He's talking about Bill Pullman. He's like, he travels the country with his loner daughter, Kat.
Yeah.
That's so mean. Why would they?
How would they even know that? How would they
Yeah.
know that? Where did they get that from? How did they learn that about this child?
They could just tell she didn't have any friends.
Just what? From a picture?
Yeah.
They go interview her friends on the playground? How did they figure this out?
I guess it'd be acquaintances, right? It's like, hey, anyone friends with Kat? Nah.
No.
All right, cool.
Well, we're gonna make sure to include that.
Must be a loner.
All right, one last thing, and then I want to wrap.
What did his previous ghost therapy cases look like? If he had not seen a ghost before.
They look like every Ghost Hunters episode where they're like, was that? Nope.
And look, I just think if you're a normal person, you go into a haunted house, you see a ghost, you should be scared.
Mhm.
If you're a professional ghost therapist and you go into a haunted house and you see a ghost, you need to be a little more fucking professional. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but
you
what
need
if you're
to be
a
a little bit
professional?
more.
Okay, hang on a second. What if you're
prepared.
a professional fraud
Yeah.
and then you find out you were accidentally right? Could that be
Mhm.
scary?
Actually, not a fraud.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
But-
you've scheduled your whole life around you being a fraud. This is very upsetting.
No, that's
Yeah.
the thing. I think that if he was a fraud, like this was clearly a scam that he was running, that would be different. But this guy is a true believer,
Yeah.
buried
just never
under
actually
a mountain
found
of
one. Yeah.
grief, truly delusional, probably an alcoholic. It seems like.
Right.
We only see him drink once, but he does do it all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he drinks though like somebody who's had a lot of practice drinking.
That's true.
Yeah.
I agree with you. He should have been a little more professional about it. But also remember, these are ghosts who can and will murder you. These are murder ghosts. They have that power.
Hold on a second.
Absolutely.
Those ghosts murdered 0 people as long as that priest is still alive.
Yeah.
Which we don't know.
Which
we
we
really
don't
don't know.
But
We don't know that. And also, he didn't know that, but he did know those are real swords, and they can't be in that much control of where they land because they go through him like a magic
They
trick.
could have killed Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
And in fact, they do eventually do. They do eventually do, I would
I mean, they
say.
try
sort
not
of
to.
do. Yeah,
They're
are-
like, we're going to kill you, and then we don't.
They
Yeah,
basically
it's
do
one
it,
of those.
though.
It's one of those classic like shoots the gun out the window and somebody was falling down and they get hit as they go. It was like that. They were trying to kill him and accidentally succeeded, but
They
did not do it.
Intent
Yeah.
before he died.
That
Alex.
prop
This is an open
that
and shut
prop work was
case.
so good though. Like during that time, like
It was
that was like
great.
seamless.
Oh,
to, like
yeah.
the real stuff and the not real. Like that was
I
that was
loved
real
it.
good.
Yeah, I loved all the Who Framed Roger Rabbit scenes
Yeah.
were fantastic. But that's just always like
I think
that's
the
always
one
so
thing
good.
that I liked the least is when Christina Ricci asks Casper what it feels like to die, and he says like being born backwards, which
And
you mean just going feet first into a vagina?
Oh.
That's not.
Well, again,
Rad.
he's very horny. This is
Yeah,
all he's thinking
super
about.
horny. He's
Everything-
so-
A girl
He
lays
died
in his
He
bed.
died right as he was experiencing puberty for the first time. It's
Now-
very
Yeah,
confusing.
Now I remember there's one other thing that like was awkward for watching the movie with the kids, which is not that. But it was when he had to explain how he died. And I was like, wait, like I was like, so what happened? I was like, well, it sounds like what they're saying is he went sledding too hard,
Yeah,
which
he
is not a way that
sledded.
people die. I
He
just want you
went
to know.
sledding.
Yeah.
He went sledding and then just couldn't stop himself. He
Yeah.
immediately became addicted to sledding and did it
Right.
until he died from it.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
feel like it leaves that germ theory. Maybe like it's not. I feel like it's not.
Yeah, he died of a chill eventually from it. It
No,
wasn't that
this-
night.
This movie up there with Citizen Kane is a part of Hollywood's anti-sled agenda.
Yep.
They constantly Hollywood is
They're
trying
very
to constantly
dangerous.
convince you that sledding, not even once. All right, if you go sledding once, you're
You'll
gonna
just do it the
die,
rest of the day.
or it is going to completely fuck up every relationship you have for the rest of your life. So your dying thoughts is of a sled.
You're
It
like,
is
oh man, if I could just get one more hit of that sweet, sweet sled before I pass.
It's so anti-sled. It's ridiculous.
Mama got to go for a ride.
All right. Let's put Casper back to bed for a second. Let's finish up by adding Casper to our master list. Season 5, the best movies of all time, 1 through 33. Where are we going to fit Casper from 1995?
Can you
This is an
give
interesting
me
one because this is a
starting-
movie I loved entirely, I think.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how to rank whether it's good or not.
Give me the bottom, let's say 10. Give me from the worst all the way up, because I feel like it's going to be on the high
I'll need
end.
that too. I'll
Yeah,
need
the
bottom
high
10 as
end
well.
of like
Say it 3
the
times. I want that also.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna do.
Hey,
I'm
it's
gonna-
right in front of you.
let me-
Just give us
hang
the
on.
list.
Hang on.
I know you have it. I've seen your Notion.
Yeah.
You don't need 29 through 33. Okay.
Yes,
this
I
is
do.
not the Transformers the movie.
Okay.
This is not Rush Hour 2.
Is this more important than Shrek though?
See, that's the thing is y'all put Shrek down low, and you really messed up because
This is not worse than
fractured the
Girl with
universe.
Character. All right, so let me do Michael Clayton is number 15.
Oh my gosh.
Then Out of Sight, Dead Ringers, Battleship Potemkin, Pelham 1, 2, 3, and Planes, Trains, Automobiles wraps up 15 through 20. Then we go into In the Cut, Princess Diaries, Life Aquatic, Cable Guy, Hard to Be a God, and Avengers Endgame through 26. And then PJ Soylent Green Growth character. And we don't need to talk about that part because it's not there. And you don't even have to joke about that.
But you put Shrek down there. Y'all
the
put
point
Shrek
is, though,
down there.
this is clearly around Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Cable Guy, Life Aquatic. This is in that vibe. For sure, this is in 20 to 25.
I like Shrek better.
For you.
I think Shrek's a better script.
You don't, though.
I do.
Look,
Shrek is like about some shit.
If you want to argue for script,
It's
Shrek is a better script than this. That is unarguable.
absolutely.
Shrek,
I don't even know what
Shrek
Casper's
managed to
about
go
half the
90
time.
minutes
It's not
without
even about Casper. Like,
Shrek managed to finish the movie without a single joke. That is not a better script.
Shrek did not kiss Princess Fiona when she was asleep. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true. Shrek ain't a creep.
Look.
Shrek ain't no creep.
Shrek most certainly is a creep, A. B,
Your
he was dead.
sentiment.
He was dead. This is ghost stuff is different. A ghost could be kissing you right now. There might be a ghost doing... Ghosts can do other things because you can't tell.
All right. Ghost, listen up. You can do whatever you want to Alex. He is cool with it.
Yeah, Alex seems to have accepted this reality. I do
is
not.
This what you're saying?
Especially because we can't prove Alex true. I'm not going to just assume this.
All ghosts are kissing us all the time. This is happening to you. You can't stop it. People are doing ghost stuff constantly.
Huh.
This is always happening
a lot.
to you. Yeah.
And you're cool with that?
There's no point in me being cool or not. It's like, am I cool with winter existing? Like, it's not my favorite.
Yo,
but like,
we are actively working at ending winter. So, like,
yeah, and we are making some hella good progress on it all the time. All right.
We've really taken it to winter recently. Okay. Anyway, this has got to be in the 20 to 25 range.
I'll do 22.5, right under Princess Diaries.
Under Princess Diaries. Okay. I think that's a fair vote. Hunter.
I'll do above PJ, even though I did like PJ.
Above PJ, which is 26.5 to be above PJ.
I'm gonna go. I think this list, is kind of a little lopsided. Like, I definitely think this is definitely in the right area, but I cannot, in good conscience. I mean, you want to get controversial with it. Avengers Endgame is better than most movies on this list at this point.
That's a tough one.
It's a terrible movie.
Avengers Endgame is definitely better than Casper.
We
so
just
I'm
need
gonna
to
go
have a
right
list
after
episode at this point where we just argue about this list. Like, I could do that with y'all for an hour.
The list is perfect, and the list
Yeah.
represents us. The list represents the show's opinion.
And look, and this is also what I've said a lot of times about stuff kind of high up on the list. There's a lot of just good movies on this list. They got to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And just because something's high on the list doesn't mean it's bad, right? Even stuff that is like objectively bad, it's still on this list. I think it has some merit. Nothing on this list is actually bad except for Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour 2.
Right. Rush Hour 2 is really bad.
Yeah, Rush Hour 2 was legitimately bad. And this, I think, I just think right after Avengers Endgame, it's a really good place for Casper to land. I think
it's definitely better than Avengers Endgame, I mean, it has to be at least 5 points better than Avengers Endgame because that was awful. I do think there is sort of like a comedy chunk, right, from Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Princess Diaries, Life Aquatic, Cable Guy. I think that's like a reasonable chunk for it. I genuinely liked this more than Planes, Trains, Automobiles, which I think is like less funny, is less well written, has some good performances, but like I think is a worse script, and I just don't care about it, and is cringier. This is a couple of cringes. That had a couple more cringes. Then it's weird for me because I do think this is better than Battleship Potemkin, but I don't know that it's better than Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. But that's where I feel like it is. I liked it more than I like Dead Ringers.
Yeah. You just laughed out
like
for
Dead
me.
Ringers.
Are you actually gonna say Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 is worse than Casper?
I like keep it going. I like this.
Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 is the way you talk about Soylent Green is the way I have gone. The further we get away from Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, the more I am constantly like that movie fucking
I think about that movie, every day.
So
like every day, I think about that movie.
Taking a film
Mostly
1, 2, 3
'cause I
is
live
so fucking good.
Yeah,
And
I
Alex, you
appreciate
gotta
the
be
point you're
careful.
making. What I
You
just
travel a
said was this is better than Battleship Potemkin, but not as good as Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Like, and you're yelling at me in agreement. You're agreeing with me so hard. You're making me feel bad.
Listen, we haven't had a good yell time.
I know, but this is the thing that I said. You're agreeing with what I'm saying.
And Alex, you need to be
I did not care
careful.
for Dead Ringers at all. I kind of feel like I want this to be around Bowfinger, but Michael Clayton was really good. Dead Ringers is just like so outside of my... And then Out of Sight, I don't really remember. I cannot place it. I swear I didn't see it. I would swear I didn't see it if you didn't tell me that it was on this list. Remind me what Out of Sight was?
It was George Clooney. But as a
that was fun. Okay, so that was probably better.
Yeah,
than
it's a
this.
good movie.
So here's the problem. I do think Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 would be better, but because of its position, it is behind Battleship Potemkin on our list. It screws everything up. This is better than Battleship Potemkin. This is 17.5 is my vote.
Well, so you like Dead Ringers better?
I think I did not like it, but I feel like Dead Ringers was doing a thing I don't like, but it's hard. I can't even judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. You've convinced me. 16.5. I liked it better than... I did not like it as much as Out of Sight. All right.
Cool.
So that puts us roundly... Did I do this right? 22.5, 26.5, 16.5, and... Did I miss? Yeah, that's right. All right. This is a 23. This is the 23rd best movie. Does that put it above or below Life Aquatic? I think that puts it behind? Above.
Well, I think it's above. I think it bumps it out.
Right. This is the 23rd best movie of all time. This is right behind Princess Diaries, right above Life Aquatic. This is a fair place for it to be. Casper, 1995, the 23rd best movie of all time.
Well,
canonically.
there you go.
Next thing up, we have a scoring update. Anthony, by choosing a spooky movie in the month of November, you get 1 bonus point.
Bonus.
What does that do to our scores?
All right. So where we're at, last place, Hunter 14. Alex and Anthony tied for second, 15, and then me, 16 all alone. But now, Anthony, bumping up. We are sharing first place together with 16. So 16 is from Anthony, Alex, 15, Hunter, 14.
Excellent. Next order of business. Hunter, you are not only one step behind Anthony in the leaderboard, you're also one step behind him in the choosing options. This is your week. Hunter, what are we going to watch next?
So I can pick, if I pick a scary movie, I get a point.
You get 1 point if you pick a spooky movie. I will say, if it's scary, Ezra will not watch it and I will not enjoy it. If it's spooky, we might have fun.
Can we resolve before we do that? Can we resolve?
Oh, yes. I forgot there's a rules.
There's rules, Lauren.
A rules clarification. So, Ezra, please present to the rules committee the thing that you would like settled.
Will it please the court? I'm just a humble game player. Okay, so Alex played a card that said discard and redeal all cards. And we discarded all of our cards, but we only redealt 2 cards. I would argue if you want us to redeal 2 cards specifically, it would say that. Instead, I think it should be redealing an equal number to the cards we discarded.
I will just say, from my gut reaction on this, is that we never actually settled on hand size and how many cards one can have. The number was 2, but because some of them were useless, we were like, you can put these in a bonus separate hand off to the side that was not even part of the power cards dock that we had created. So to me, that sounds like, and the reason why I did this by default last week without talking about it, is that sounds like you discard all your cards, everyone gets a fresh set of cards, but like in a poker hand, if you throw away all your cards, you don't get like 9 cards, even if you've had more over time.
I'm going to go with Alex's interpretation of here. This is, to me, that sounds, you discard, everyone redraws, we're all back at 2. I think that's
Hunter,
the way that code should have been read and the way it was done.
Rule of cool would be that we get as many cards as possible.
Well,
but
would that be the rule of cool if our cards are mostly bad news that make the game less fun?
Well, I mean, then we shouldn't have cards. But I guess I'll say just that, like, it feels like it's disadvantaging the people who weren't playing their cards yet, in a way that maybe the point of this is just you're trying to do a reset, I wouldn't say you're trying to like say like, hey, if you played him, you get an advantage, and if you didn't, you don't.
Oh, I thought the other thing. I thought that like this also helped prevent card hoarding. The card hoarding is weird for the game and makes it a little bit less fun. So having there be a mechanism to disadvantage hoarding, I think is probably good too.
I think also I don't remember if I had 2 cards or 6, honestly, because I had a lot that I haven't used.
No, it sounds like, and I could be wrong. It sounds like Ezra, you had 4 cards.
I definitely had 4 cards.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I don't actually feel like I should have a say because I had before you played your card, Alex. I had a good card, a very good card, and then in the redraw, the 2 cards that I've drawn are so unbelievably bad that they will.
Wait,
I
but you have
guarantee
the
I will
porn
never
card,
use
right?
them.
One of yours is the porn card.
I have a porn card.
Okay,
and
so I just while we're doing this, I want to do a quick rules clarification from Jay, who is the one who suggested the porn card. Jay wrote in to say, just to clarify the intent behind the porn parody card, it isn't that the whole panel watches the porn parody instead, just one of you. So you play the card and one person from the group. So we wouldn't all be talking about porn. It's that we would all be talking about Star Trek, and then one person has only seen the Star Trek porn.
So it doesn't really help you at all, or anyone.
No.
It does throw a fun chaos into the mix, I think, is the idea.
It's just funny because some of the cards help you score points.
Yes.
And then there's this one that's kind of just like do a mean thing to someone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't like it.
Right,
So,
but just to clarify what is actually
Thank you
going
for
on
not
there.
playing it on this round also, by the way.
let's chill. I would like to be thanked every round I don't play
that would just be thanked.
That's what I would like.
I haven't looked this up, but I'm sure there's a Casper thing, right? There's got to be ghost stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's I mean, the movie itself is horny as hell, so yeah, I'm sure there is a porn version.
Okay.
Anyways, do you just want my pick? Because
Yeah.
I do. But we're sort of you're.
It seems like he's a neutral to a no, I guess is what I'm getting from you, Hunter.
I mean,
You're trying to
I would
recuse
love
yourself.
to get more cards because my cards are unplayable. So for me personally, the answer is yes. I don't. As a game designer, I don't really know. I recuse myself. Yeah.
I would think as a game designer, you'd want there to be some way to throw away, to discard and get a new card. Also.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what if once per rotation, you could discard a card and get a new card?
Yeah, that'd be cool because I really don't want this porn card. I don't want my other card either, but my other card is more just like I think that in order to use it, I would have to do a lot of homework that I'm not going to do. So that's just the fact.
Yeah, I mean, my power cards have never been. I had one good one, and I've had a lot of bad ones along the way. And I also had, I think, 3 or 4 as well.
I had one that was like pick twice in a row, and I was like, damn, I'm going to get to score off this easy. Mm-hmm. And I even, where we are at, if I still had it, I could. And what I was going to end up doing was just saying, hey, let's not watch 2 movies that I've picked in a row. Let's just skip the movie in between and get to my point movie.
Right.
Anyways, because we get here's the 2 things I could do. I could make us watch this horrible edutainment, this educational film that will suck, and then the next, but it has John Travolta in it, so we could get to Blowout. I'm not gonna do that because I can get at least 1 point if I pick a horror movie,
a
spooky movie. Sorry. So and it's not going to be horror because 2 of the panel don't like that.
Right.
I thought it would be interesting if we watched. I've never seen Ghostbusters 2. Has anyone?
Oh.
Has anyone here seen Ghostbusters 2?
Yes, I've seen Ghostbusters 2. I've seen it so many times. It is not good.
I know.
I like the song.
I kind of want to know. I just want to know. Yeah. I mean, we could also just watch the original Ghostbusters if that's what you want to do. I just thought it would be funny if we moved through Dan Aykroyd playing the same character that he's going to be playing in the other movie.
Well,
we moved from cameo to regular Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Ghostbusters 2 is it's a bad version of Ghostbusters 1. It is one of the more lazy, we're going to just do the first movie again sequels.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still like Ghostbusters 2. I don't actually think it's awful. I just think it is nowhere near as good as 1 is. It's definitely a little bit spookier than 1, I think.
Yeah.
So that will at least have that.
There's
The
some
other thing
there's
we
some more
could
goo.
do is travel through the Crypt Keeper and watch a Tales from the Crypt movie, like
We could
the Tales from the Crypt movie.
Yeah.
But
We
that
could
would be
also
spooky. But it would also be
travel through
hokey.
Bill Pullman to get to Lost Highway, or
Ooh.
if
I
you want
like
to do
Bill
some.
Pullman in most cases.
I've never
that-
seen Lost Highway.
Yeah,
Is
Lost Highway.
Are we gonna say that's spooky? Does that count as spooky?
I mean, it would probably be a little spooky, and it's one of the only Lynch movies I have also not seen. I've seen the rest of his filmography. I've never seen Lost Highway. And I think that would be fun.
I mean, I think we should have to get a. Do you want us to decide afterwards if it counts as a Halloween movie, as a spooky movie?
Yeah, I mean, we could.
Is neo noir spooky enough?
I mean, it's a Lynch movie, so it's definitely gonna be spooky.
Yeah.
There's no way it's not spooky. But I don't know. It's not a traditional like Halloween-y type movie.
Right.
So I don't know.
Mystery thriller.
I have always wanted to see Lost Highway. People say it's one of his best. It's like I said, the only one of Lynch's movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm picking Lost Highway. That's more interesting than watching Ghostbusters too. So I don't even care if I get a point for it.
You got us on interestingness, and we'll see. We'll decide next week if it was spooky enough to give it to you.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think it'll be a fun group game. All right. So next week we're watching 1997 neo noir Lost Highway by David Lynch, about a jazz man who's framed. That looks exciting. All right. Before we go, one quick thing. One more email. I've worked at a couple in here, but I have one more email I want to bring out. This is from Zach, who's a meat buddy, who says, you guys may remember a couple weeks ago we gave Zach some travel tips. Zach says, I remained a week or so behind, so I just listened to the podcast with travel advice. Unfortunately, I listened to it the day after we got back from Portugal. I think Anthony's advice about medium levels of danger was the best. Well, it's not a competition, Zach. One of our best travel stories was about hanging out in a pub in London and realizing a few hours later we hung out with a drug dealer for 2 hours. So jet lag is fun. So everybody... People are loving your mildly dangerous travel tips, Anthony. So that's exciting. Done. And I'm glad we were able to help you.
CNN's giving me a show.
That was such a weird channel for that show to be on. Anyway, all right. Thanks for writing in. If anybody has any other feedback for us, podcast@read-weep.com. And we look forward to talking to you next week about Lost Highway.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Alex, sorry, I just pressed the button wrong. I missed it. yes.
Just so you know, I got an email from Crispy Scream Donuts today.
I forgot to do the donut noise. Donut noise. Really quick. Donut news with Ezra Fox.
Okay.
Ezra?
So, I don't know what the reason is because it doesn't say, but there's some scary stuff happening to donuts. Generally, like there's a donut that is a spooky spider. There's a blue batter donut. There's a scaredy cat donut, and there's a neon orange sprinkle. These are all the scariest things.
I would hate if part of the thing of our show is that it made a lot more people buy Krispy Kreme donuts and they didn't pay us any money.
Worse things than this.
Yeah, there are Dunkin' Donuts, but still, like it's for a non-sponsored segment, I would be annoyed if it was like very effective. But those all sounded kind of fun.
Yeah, and there also is there's a booze there peek inside box where you can see a little bit of what's kind of donut is inside the box beforehand.
Interesting.
So it's a haunted house,
somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, so I know scary stuff's going around. I don't know why because it doesn't say if there's like a reason for it specifically inside this email. But I
do love spooky season decorated treats. There's a bakery near me that makes just the cutest cookies and macarons and they love a seasonal macaron and it's adorable.
I love businesses that you go into all the time and then one day you walk in and it's hella spooky in there and you're like, this place fucking rules now. Oh my God. All the spider webs and chains hanging everywhere. Is that a bag of blood just hanging from the ceiling? This store rocks. I'm so glad I come here to get my coffee.
I could not agree more.
It is my favorite time of the year is when Halloween's great, but the changeover from you're just a coffee shop to your normal coffee shop is the best. I love it so much.
If you wanted to look at the Village Bakery and Cafe on Instagram at some point, you can see their new Ghosts cookies are the cutest thing I've ever seen. They've got little bow ties. Anyway, I love it. So happy spooky season. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for being here, Ezra. Thanks for the donut news.
Of course.
And thanks for being here, Spookthany. I didn't read your name before.
Yeah.
That's funny. Good job.
Ooh.
And for rounding out the panel, Hunbun. Good talking to you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back next week with more Read and Weep. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.